Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being part of this evening with us. Thanks for just blowing your Tuesday night here with us on live lessons. I'm Steve Krenz. We are here in legendary Gruhn Guitars here in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA. Hey, if you can, go ahead and type in where you're from. That's always fun for me to kind of know where everybody's from. Our monitor, which I'm reading this from, is going crazy a little bit. Pedro, good to see you from Lisbon, Portugal. Asheville, North Carolina, Montreal, Midland, Texas. I got some family in Midland, Texas. Bakersfield, California. Fort Davis, Texas. Here they come. Tasmania, Australia. Okay, I think you won the prize for coming the farthest. Las Vegas, Maryland, I see coming by. New Mexico, Springfield, Illinois, Florida, Delaware, London, England. Gary, it's good to see you. Daytona Beach, another Australia. Thank you, Aussie Muso. It's good to have you all here. All right. Well, it's going to be a great night. We are very excited to have some very special guests with us. And if you haven't been with us before, we're also going to be doing some giveaways along the course of the evening. So you need to be logged in at ustream.tv. And that will get you logged into our chat, which is going on right now. Some of you may be actually watching us on various different things. Some of you may be watching on an iPad, which is a little bit different. If you're logged into us at ustream.tv, then you're able to chat. We'll see you. You don't need to say anything, but we'll see you in the chat, and then we can pick your name, and we'll be giving away some stuff along the way. So it should be a fantastic night, and I'm so excited to introduce you all to Kirby Easler. Kirby, thank you so much for being here with us.
So excited.
You are our first, I'm ashamed to say, you are our first female live lesson guest, and it's an honor to have you here with us.
So excited to be here.
Yeah, and where are you from originally?
I'm originally from a really small town called St. Stephen, South Carolina, which it's an hour north of Charleston. So we're basically Charleston locals, I guess, because we go there for everything.
Good. Well, Kirby and I met at the Chet Atkins convention and got to just briefly meet, I think, at that point. I think we just kind of shook hands or something at that point. And so now she is here in Nashville, and so we're glad to have you come and play for us. What are you going to play for us?
I'm going to play a Billy Joel song called Don't Ask Me Why, and this is my arrangement.
Wonderful.
So...
Wonderful, wonderful. Fantastic. Now, and that's
you.
an arrangement that you came up with.
Yes.
Yeah, and how do you go about like trying to? What drew you to that song?
You know, it's one of those that I never got tired of listening to that song.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the test of an arrangement is if you work on it long enough and you still don't get tired of it,
Yeah,
then it's a good one.
yeah,
And that's kind of the mentality I had when I approached that song. I think I work on multiple things at once. That's just kind of how I operate. But I worked on that one for about 2 years.
really. Well, it's a very intricate arrangement there.
And that's so I'm entertained with it.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
if I'm entertained, I'm not quite as worried about other people being entertained by it.
Now, how did you get started playing guitar? Do you come from a musical family?
Yes, my mother is the piano player for our praise and worship team at church.
Yeah.
And I started playing piano by ear, being exposed to that.
So you started on piano.
Started on piano first. And then I started taking lessons with piano when I was in 5th grade, so I was 11. And I took piano lessons for about 5.5 years.
Yeah.
And I was in school bands playing flute and marimba and oboe,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So I've always been working with music, but I didn't really get serious about guitar until maybe 2010,
Yeah.
2011. So
And did you
2010.
Did you take formal lessons on guitar?
I took about 2 lessons, and my my guitar teacher taught me the pentatonic scale.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still use that a lot, but that's all I did with guitar lessons.
And so you mainly just kind of picked it up on your own and YouTube and
Lots of
things
YouTube.
like that.
UltimateGuitar.com was a big resource that I used.
Yeah. That's a great resource.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And going to jam sessions,
Yeah.
and just asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge for me.
What type of music did you grow up listening to? Was it fingerstyle or something else or bluegrass or?
I grew up listening to 90s country, so
Mhm.
Garth Brooks.
Mhm.
But I also grew up listening to Billy Joel, James Taylor, Aerosmith,
Yeah.
the Beatles, a little bit of the Beach Boys, but lots of 90s Disney music as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
All
love
those
that stuff.
wonderful, beautiful movie themes and
Yeah.
stuff is buried and all that sort of stuff. What kind of guitar are you playing today?
I'm playing a Maton EBG 808 Michael Fix model, which has the cutaway.
And they're made in Australia.
They're made in Australia. It's
Mhm.
the same brand that Tommy Emmanuel uses,
Mm-hmm.
and I found out about them through him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a beautiful playing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I can go into any guitar store, and no matter how nice the guitars are, I still want to play mine. It
Mhm.
kind of broke that guitarist curse of wanting to buy one more guitar.
Yeah.
I'm happy with this one.
Yeah. Now,
It's-
did it come with a pickup in it, or did you have
Yes.
to? Okay. Do you know what kind of pickup it has? In
It's
it?
the Maton AP mic system, which it's got a pickup that way. I think it has
Under the saddle. Yeah.
6 individual
Mhm.
piezo for
Yeah.
each string, and then it's got a microphone, which is separate, and I can control the microphone completely separate from the rest of the pickup, so I can mix that. I would use that if I'm using harmonics in a song.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you have problems with feedback sometimes?
Occasionally, if I use the microphone,
In a very loud setting, I would imagine.
right? But I've played concert halls with the microphone on, jacked up as high as it will go, and it didn't give me any trouble. So it just depends.
Now, you mentioned you play at church. Do you play guitar at church, or?
On holidays sometimes.
Yeah, because you moved here. Now you're here in
Yes.
Nashville, and when was the first time you met Tommy Emmanuel?
I met him. At
Or
a ch-
got familiar with his music, I guess, probably first
I-
before you met him.
I found his music in 2010,
Mm-hmm.
and I found out that he was coming to South Carolina about 2 months after I found him.
Mm-hmm.
So I met him, I think, June 22nd, 2010, or something
Mhm.
like that. It's at the Charleston Music Hall, and I got to go to the meet and greet. And I had an Ovation guitar at that point, and he signed the Ovation, and he was incredibly nice to me. And that was the first show that I had seen of his, was
Yeah.
after I met him.
And he's been a big influence on you.
And ever since that, I was so driven to practice,
Yeah.
and I've enjoyed it so much.
And now you actually work here in Nashville,
Yes.
do a little bit of helping out in Tommy's office here in Nashville.
Yes, I work for Gina Mandello, and she handles his merchandising.
Mm-hmm.
So if you order Tommy Emmanuel merchandise, I'm the person who packs and ships that for you. So
There you go. There
So-
you go. We had a question come in. D2 Racing, Sylvan, our good friend from Quebec. you obviously can read music notation. The question was, can you read music notation? And if you're doing oboe and play marimba and things like that, you would have been familiar with music notation.
I can sight read enough to memorize it, and then I'm done with sight reading after that. So I'm not one of those people who can just sit down at a piece of music and play it perfectly.
Yeah.
I still can read it, but I would like to have it. I would like to have the sounds to go with it.
How did starting out on piano, or even starting out on some of the wind instruments and like the oboe, how did that help you with your guitar work?
I didn't work so much with the oboe. I spent about 2.5 years playing flute.
Mm-hmm.
That's mostly what I did in band, and that helped me in sight reading because as a band we sight read most of the time, and it helped me just get used to the upper range in the treble.
It would probably
section.
give you a little bit more of a sense of the melody and the melody's place in the overall
Yes.
mix of the music, I guess. Especially with flute, you're probably playing the melody quite a bit
Yes.
at times. So.
And I remember, I think not very many people have done this, but I remember our band teacher focused so much on the phrasing
Yeah.
with us, and just even if we had all the notes in the right places, she would work with us over and over until we had a passage to where it sounded like a conversation or an idea instead of just a string of notes.
Which is so important in guitar world, is a lot of times as guitarists we have a tendency, since we don't need to breathe
Right.
like other kinds of wind instruments, we don't have a need to, we don't often are thinking in phrases and in sentences rather than, we just kind of, some players you'll hear and there'll just be a flurry of notes, just kind of a stream of notes, and you go, gosh, it's fantastic, but it's nothing memorable because it's not being approached in phrases. And a lot of times we as guitar players miss that because we don't have to breathe. We can just keep going. Howling Coyote is asking, how much do you get to practice? What does your practice sessions look like?
I don't
these
have
days?
I don't have any scheduled practice sessions, but I've found that I'm not a morning person. so I
Well,
just,
it's a good thing we have live lesson at night.
Yes.
So
I've just figured out how to work around that, and I work mostly at night, but there's a window of time after I eat breakfast that I'm really energized and ready to play. So I'll play for maybe 30 minutes there. Sometimes it depends on if I have an idea.
do you have specific things that you work on,
So-
technique-wise, or are you just trying to flesh out songs, or?
Nothing in particular, really.
Okay.
Just whatever has inspired me at the moment, or if I've done a show and I remember I didn't do so well on one of the songs in there, I'll go back and practice that passage that I messed up and get that sounding better.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
I've never been one to just sit down and practice scales for 30 minutes straight.
Yeah.
So I'm ignorant as far as my scales go, but as far as getting the phrasing, that's where I put most of my attention.
Now, what about when you're building a song? What about some of the chord shapes that you're using? Is it just forms that you're finding, or do you have a library of chords that you kind of use a lot and add to that?
I've found that I pull from other places.
Yeah.
So I'm really a technician as far as I love to copy people, and I'm really good at that. So I learned a lot of Tommy Emmanuel songs, and I'm learning a little bit of Joe Robinson's music right now from his tab book, which is
That's fantastic. I would love to have
crazy
him on the show.
hard, but it's
Is he here in Nashville?
Yeah,
I
he-
heard he was here in Nashville.
yeah, he lives here.
But he's out quite a bit, I think, too, on the road.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he is right now.
I've
but-
reached out to him a time or two trying to get Joe, just to make some connection with Joe on the
Yeah.
show. So hopefully maybe someday we'll be able
Yeah.
to get him here.
And one of the big benefits for learning other people's music is that I'm kind of stealing their chords.
Yeah.
So a lot of the songs that I arrange come from other songs. So like I played an arrangement of She's Always a Woman, and I played that capoed on the 4th fret, played like G.
Can you
and
play
it's-
us a little bit of that?
Yes. And it's very similar to Tommy Emmanuel's And So It Goes
Yeah.
as far as the tuning for it. So that's actually the relative minor for She's
Yeah.
Always a Woman. So I can play And So It Goes and then go straight into She's Always a Woman from
Yeah.
the ending chord. So
Beautiful.
I'll do a little bit of that just to show where I came from
Sure.
with that. And then I'll go into She's Always a Woman.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, I notice as you're playing, you don't really have nails on your
None at all.
plucking hand at all. Is that something you've always
I
done?
can't get a good tone with nails. Just there are many people who can. I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing that I have my nails painted today. I did this like two days ago. Usually my nails are so short that there's not a line of white right there. I keep them very short because I just want the sound of the flesh, and it gives me
such a very sweet and tender kind of a sound.
more like the hammers in a piano.
Yeah, yeah, very beautiful.
So that's kind of the sound I'm going for.
Beautiful. And I see you're using a G7 capo there. We are good friends with G7, and we love their stuff. That's one of their. If you guys are interested, that's their Nashville capo that G7 has. We'll have to offer some more G7 stuff. They were great. They won, I think, the best in show for their capos in NAMM a couple of NAMMs ago. So just great stuff. And then you're running through an AER amp. Tell us about that amp.
This is the AER Alpha. I've had it for a couple of years, and it's beautiful. It works all the time. I never have issues with it. And anytime I'm playing a show, I take it with me, regardless of whether there's a PA system or not. It just gives the guitar a good, natural, warm sound.
And you can go direct out of it as well.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, yeah. And it has 2 channels.
Yes.
Do you know how much it goes for? How much?
When I got it, it was about $1,000.
Yeah, yeah. It's a wonderful small little amp. I think we're trying to get a shot of it now. It's a wonderful sound. They've got one actually here at Gruhn's that I use quite often when I'm here. It's a beautiful sound. It's got 2 channels. It's kind of perfect for acoustic instruments. Okay, a couple of questions. Run 27.2 is saying, how long did it take you to get very proficient at playing your style of fingerstyle? How long before you were good? How much did you have to really stink before you started to sound good?
Well, when I found fingerstyle, I already knew a couple rock chords, like from playing Switchfoot and Reliant K stuff, and just basic punk rock kind of stuff. So when I got into fingerstyle, you have to understand I already had that classical piano background from taking lessons, so it was easy for me to understand what the songs were doing and what the notes were. The hardest part for me was getting my hands used to that. So I would say it was about 2 years before I was really comfortable playing something on stage.
Yeah. Do you do anything with electric? Do you have an electric?
I have a Squier electric that me and my dad have repainted it and put new pickups in it. And
little Squier Strat.
That's, we call that the guinea pig.
There you go.
So we mess with that one every now and then, but
good. Well,
mostly just this.
Yeah, the maintenance sounds absolutely amazing. Now, I see that you do have a thumb pick. Do you use the thumb pick occasionally?
Yes, I use the Fred Kelly Bumblebee pick.
Mm-hmm.
It works better for my playing style, but I use it on Don't Ask Me Why and on some of the Disney arrangements that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like Friends Like Me from Aladdin is one of my favorite songs, and I've arranged that one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a really good bite to it, but I like the fact that you can twist
move
the pick
around. Yeah, kind of show. Can we get a tight shot of that, Cole? And you can actually move the tip of that pick, guys, around.
It's very flexible, and it works for me because I'm okay with Travis picking and that kind of stuff, but typically with those players, you see that their hand is kind of like that, where their index finger is straight down, and it's almost a right angle, and so it allows them to get a lot of speed. And I don't hold my hand like that, so standard thumb picks just don't
angle
hit
right.
at the right angle for me. So I can correct with that. I can adjust for that with the Bumblebee pick, which I really like. And it works too with harmonics. You know, when you do your hand like that, you can adjust the angle of the pick so you can get a softer tone with it.
Yeah. Can you illustrate that for us? Are you set up to do that?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you. It's just-
beautiful.
That was an intro for Tommy's Somewhere Over the Rainbow arrangement. So
Is that written out anywhere by any chance? It's such a beautiful
I
pattern of chords.
I don't know that this one is.
Mhm.
He did a concert in Tommy Fest in
Mhm.
2012, which is in Kentucky. There's a video from that, and I copied it from the video. So that's how I learned how to do.
So just watching his chord forms
Watching
and
that.
then doing that.
And there are multiple resources of him explaining how that works as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So I learned from those, and that took me about a year and a half.
It's not an easy technique to do. It's quite intricate to do that. And Tommy just kind of goes, "Blue," and it looks like he's just barely doing. Gosh, if you know how to do that, it is quite tricky to be able to
Yeah.
pull that off as fluidly as that.
When I got into that, what I would do is, if I was just around the house, walking around in the kitchen, I would capo it somewhere, and then just sit there, and so I had a hand free, and I could just go around the kitchen doing what I wanted to while I was practicing that, and just getting my hands used to that.
Yeah.
The biggest hurdle with learning harmonics was just getting used to that weird feel of it.
Yeah.
So now it's easy for me to work with harmonics and to find different ways of using them.
It's a very different,
Just
very
getting used to
different
it.
how your hand is moving. It's moving in a pretty unfamiliar way because your thumb has
Yes.
to be behind your index finger, which is actually touching the string, and the thumb is plucking the harmonic behind it. So it kind of gets your hand in a weird way when you're doing it. Kind of get claw hand if you did it too much. Randy 120 is saying, "Love the Billy Joel. Do you use a capo most of the time?"
Most of the time, yes. It makes it easier because I don't have Tommy Manuel's hands. So it helps. But also, this guitar just loves capo on the 4th fret. It just rings like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just, if I were using a different guitar, I would probably arrange in different places on it.
Yeah.
It's just, this guitar really likes it. But I do have some arrangements that I haven't finished yet where I'm just standard tuning, no capo, or drop D, no capo. So
Do you do much work in other tunings?
not really.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
really.
It's funny. I was just listening to one of our live lesson guests from a couple years ago, Pierre Bensoussan,
Yes.
and he's Mr. Dadgad.
Mr. Dadgad.
So
Yeah.
it was he found Dadgad as a young teenager and never looked back, and just
Yeah.
kind of went on with it. And so his sounds are very fresh, but for him, playing in standard tuning is a little bit less familiar.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful how that all works out.
I love hearing what people do with that kind of stuff. But
It's very creative. What I'm fascinated with is how many people approach the instrument so radically different. Yeah.
yes.
Some people are how they tune, how they play, just how they attack the instrument. It's just fascinating to me how so many different people can get so many different sounds out of the instrument. Gosh. Okay. We are already almost halfway through. I've got a screen full of questions and a page full of questions here too. We'll talk more with Kirby here in just a second. We'll let you catch your breath for a second. Let me talk about a couple of resources for you. I don't have one with me, but we have been offering the Gruhn poster. You guys have, we mentioned this last time. I think it's the rightmost button underneath your screen. It is, there's a wonderful Hatch show print poster that Gruhn Guitars is offering because it's their 45th anniversary. Not many guitar stores can say that, can have a 45th anniversary, but this month is Gruhn's 45th anniversary. And so they had a special print made up of these, and we got George and Greg Voros and myself, and we all signed it, and there's just like 50 of these, and actually 20 of them have already gone. So there's only like 30 of them left. So if you're interested in having just something like that fun to put on your wall when you practice or something, and you're not going to be in Nashville at Gruhn Guitars anytime soon, check that link and order one of those. I've only got 30, so hopefully we won't have too much of a run on them. But it's a fantastic poster. It has all the pictures and information there. So check it out. It's a fun little thing. I was happy that we were able to work that out and to get George to sit down and sign 50 things, which is quite quite a feat. I've done a lot of signing things like that over the years, and it is the fun kind of leaves you after about the 10th one. Then it's just kind of signing. I remember when we did, I did a Fingerstyle course, and we had the marketing guys did all the promo for that, and we had this huge sale and pre-sale and all kinds of sort of stuff. And they said, and one of the things, we'll have Steve autograph them. So Steve will autograph anyone's that's pre-sale. Well, we sold 1,800 of those. So I sat for 3 days and signed 1,800 of them. And it was, my hand was, talk about claw hand. It was definitely claw hand after that. But took a few days to recover. But so if you're interested in those, that was just fun to do. One of the other things we had in the store is that I wanted to mention. I touched on this last week, but I didn't have them actually with me. This is a series that I recommend. If you're kind of going through the course, you're just learning your kind of in single note land, music reading and single notes and things like that, and you're tired of playing just the simple songs, kind of child songs. That doesn't really work for adults. We want something a little bit more hip than that, but we're still learning. So there are 3 books in this series, the Easy Pop Melodies, and then there's 2 more that are part of this. They've got Beatles songs, they've got Stevie Wonder, Otis Redding, Yesterday by the Beatles, You May Be Right by Billy Joel, the Eagles, Good Vibrations, the Beach Boys, Ozzy Osbourne, Patsy Cline, We've Changed the World, Eric Clapton. All those are in a good, easy format here, regular single note melody, and there's CDs that come with that, so you can play along with it. So if you're interested in those, if that's where you're at and you're tired of playing simple songs, child songs, then check these out. It's great resources. Love offering you guys good resources. Over at Legacy, they have a sale this month on Greg Voros. Did y'all like Greg Voros last week with the guitar? Talked about real guitar care and guitar setup and maintenance and things like that. Greg did his guitar setup course, and the folks at Legacy are offering a 40% off sale. I think it's like $29 that you can get this for. If you're interested, please check that out. Please check out all the resources that we have. We offer live lessons. Love doing it. It does cost quite a bit of money to put these on, and these little things like that, these resources help out. So I love it, and I also love giving you guys good resources. So let's give something away. Let's give away a capo by our good friends at Kaiser Capos. Someone is about to win this. This is a regular old white 6-string capo, Kaiser capo, kind of clamp-on type. The winner of this is Rodders N, Roddersn, Rodders N. You have just won this. Send me your information at service@mightyoakmusic.com with your address and shipping address, phone number if you can remember to do that, your screen name as well so I can know who you are, what you won, things like that, and we'll send this right out to you. A lot of fun. Congratulations, Rodders. All right, I think that's about all that I needed to announce at this point. Can you play us another song?
Sure.
What are you going to play for us?
I talked about Friends Like Me from Aladdin, so I'll play that one.
Good.
It's one of my favorites.
Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. Are any of your arrangements are just fantastic? Is any of that stuff written
I'm working
out?
on that now, and when I do, I'll have that on my website.
Good. Please do. And I know you're working on your website right now.
The website is under construction. It should be done in the next couple days.
And what is the address?
I don't know. I think it's just KirbyEasler.com.
KirbyEasler.com.
Yeah.
E-A-S.
EASLER. I am reachable on Facebook. It's facebook.com/KirbsGuitar, KIRBS, which is just my nickname, and youtube.com/Kirby Easler. I have, when I finish something, I usually upload it there. So
You've got a lot of wonderful videos up on
Thank
YouTube. In fact, I even saw a video of you on David Letterman.
yes,
Tell us about that. It's kind of a different thing than guitar playing.
completely different. But I come from a farm, and we've always had a lot of animals. But right now we've got 2 dogs at home. We've got a Yorkie and a Maltese, and the Yorkie was born on Jimi Hendrix's birthday. But he's 10 years old.
See?
And he can talk.
You can talk. A talking dog.
Yes, I have a talking dog. Both of them talk now, but yeah, the Yorkie. When you ask him who the president is, he says Obama.
And so that made it to.
Yeah, they in 2012 the Letterman show did auditions for Stupid Pet Tricks in Charleston, and so Sunday afternoon after church, we're just like, hey, let's go check that out. So we just take the dog there and stand in line, do the trick with him, and he even said it into the microphone on the first try. I was so proud of him. So exactly a month after we did that audition, they called me. The producer of Stupid Pet Tricks called me while I was in my astronomy class on a Friday. And so I returned his call, and he's just like, hey, can you be here Monday? So no notice whatsoever. And so we went to the Letterman show in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And then they bring in about 5 people at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So they've always got more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
So they paid for us to go up there, and then paid for me to be at the show, and then they didn't have us on that time.
Mm-hmm.
So they just flew us back home. And then they called me again around April of 2014. And they had me on the show that time, and we got on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And that video is on YouTube as well. It's on the Letterman Show's YouTube channel, but if you just search Stupid Pet Tricks, it should be like the 3rd or 4th video. It's a little Yorkie is the icon.
Yeah.
So.
How fun. How fun. Let's give away something else. All right. We are going to give away, what are we giving away? We're giving away this chromatic tuner and metronome from our friends over at tuners.com, onboard research over there. The winner of this tuner, little clamp-on tuner, is Fireman 9170. Fireman 9170. Congratulations. You have just won this. Let's see if we can get to a couple of questions here. Boxcar Boom is asking, what are your future career aspirations and any solo albums in the works?
Yes, right now I'm working on a Billy Joel solo album.
It should be great. That would be so
I'm
great.
really excited about that. Coming from a piano background, there aren't many people who have done Billy Joel's music on guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And, I understand a little bit more of what he's doing because I can play a lot of it on piano.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to kind of transcribe that for the guitar.
Yeah.
And I want to create a tab book for it and make it where other people can play it too.
I think that would be
because
wonderful.
As a pianist, I consider his body of work to be the equivalent of classical music.
Yeah.
Because it's so monumental.
Yeah, it is. It is. Wonderful. A couple more questions. Rodders, Ann, can you please talk a little bit more about phrases? And I use the analogy of sentences when you play. Can you talk a little bit more about phrasing on guitar?
Phrasing, as far as I mean it, usually when I'm arranging a song, I want the phrasing to sound like what the singer is saying because you're very limited. You only have 6 strings that you can use, so you're playing with the audience's concentration, and so you want to convince them that it's somebody talking.
Mm-hmm.
And so you mess with the phrasing, and there are a lot of times that the melody line is a little bit uneven
Mm-hmm.
or uneven sounding because it's mimicking the vocalist.
Mm-hmm.
So-
tying in with what a vocalist is doing is the key. That, I mean, just as Kirby mentioned that, as I've heard so many people refer to it in that way. When a vocalist will sing a melody, whatever, 2 measures or 4 measures, whatever it is, and it kind of has a rise and fall to it, a beginning and an ending of that little bit of musical information. And we as guitar players need to kind of always remember that. Even as we're playing and coming up with our own arrangements, think of how a singer would sing that, and you'll come up with better melodic lines and phrases in your playing.
Definitely.
Aussie Muso, which is one of our wonderful guitar learners in Australia, is saying, where'd you get your Maton?
I got it from Broadway Sound in Knoxville, Tennessee. They don't sell Matons anymore, but I would recommend Artisan Guitars in Franklin, Tennessee.
Which is a fantastic store.
I love the family there. They're so sweet.
Yeah.
And they've got really good deals.
Yeah, yeah. Not many make it over here to the United States, but they're just ridiculously great guitars. Every one I've heard has been
And I know
wonderful.
Aussie Muso, I guess, might be in Australia.
Mm-hmm. She is.
Hayworth Guitars is a Maton dealer as well, and they're based out of Australia.
Do you know where Maiden is based out of?
Maton is right outside of Melbourne.
Really?
Yes.
Fascinating.
They're pretty common over there, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So I would hope so.
I've had Australian, a good friend of ours, David Moyes, who used to be the guitar player for Air Supply. It's from Australia. I remember him being here. I was living in San Antonio at that time, and we had to make a trip up to Austin to get a beautiful Gretsch, which is, here they've got 5 of them hanging on the wall. But he said in Australia, they wouldn't even bring this into the country. Nobody would buy it. I mean, there's just no. The market is so small, and especially for large, expensive instruments like that.
Yes.
Which by the time you get it to Australia and taxes and exchange rates and
Shipping
stuff
and
like that,
taxes and-
it's a lot. And so yeah, he
Yes.
picked him up his great Gretsch, which now is the guitar I see on all the videos that he uses. So lots of fun. Okay. We're going to take a little bit of a break here for a second, and we've got a little bit of a surprise for you. We've got a very special guest that's going to come up and join Kirby, and then we're going to play a little song. We're going to close it out, talk a little bit more, but we're going to do a little bit of a promo here. So hang around for 60 seconds, and then we're going to have a very, very special guest for you. Hey there, Steve Krenz here, and I have some exciting news. We're finally finished with our brand new guitar course. When we asked our students what they would most like to see from us next, it was overwhelming: fingerstyle guitar. So that's right, we've created Fingerstyle Guitar. Learn and Master Spotlight Fingerstyle Guitar is our newest addition to our line of guitar courses. This is the result of popular demand from our friends and followers, and I couldn't be more pleased with how it's turned out. Imagine sitting down with just you and your guitar and playing a solo fingerstyle arrangement of one of your favorites. I created this course so you'll have the tools to do just that. We've got special guests, interviews, basic, intermediate, advanced lessons, and everything from traditional acoustic fingerstyle playing to arranging songs for solo guitar to classical jazz guitar, Merle Travis style picking with several stops musically in between. This is going to be a very thorough course, so get ready to take your guitar playing to an entirely new place. All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. We're so glad you're here. And we have a very, very special guest. We have so many things here. We're running out of space. We are honored to have back with us one of the few certified guitar players on the planet, our good friend John Knowles. John, thank you so much. It is a treat to have you and Kirby here with us. Now, how do you two crazy folks know each other?
It's the Chad Atkins convention.
And through the Billy Joel stuff, too.
You're right. I think one of the things we met and had our picture taken, all that kind of stuff, but then I played a Billy Joel tune, and Kirby just came running up right away. And she said, I can play that on the piano. So all of a sudden, instead of having to figure out everything by ear, I was watching Kirby play on piano. And so all of a sudden, we were just musicians working stuff out, you know, and it doesn't get any better than that. After that, there is no other introduction required after that.
Yes.
And I think wouldn't you say that's still kind of how we work, is mostly we find things we're curious about, and a couple of times she's been over at the house and she's working on one tune and has her sheet music out, and I'm working on another, and we're having our coffee, and then we'll stop and compare notes.
Yes.
So, and I love that way of kind of exchanging ideas, working like arranging peers, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. Now, when you go about, both of y'all are just so fantastic with arranging. Kind of talk about that, how you approach a song to build a fingerstyle guitar arrangement of it. It's not quite as easy as you would think.
Yeah, I think, you know, when I was listening to you play, I realized that what Kirby is doing is similar to what I do, and that is you're trying to get what the singer does and have that kind of come through to the listener, because the average listener knows that.
Yeah.
And if you hear a Billy Joel song, you almost start singing it in your head. So if the guitar playing kind of sounds like Billy, you're halfway there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is Billy Joel's playing the piano. Now, you can't sing and play 10 notes at once on a guitar, so you have to kind of figure out what is the essential ingredients to convey Billy Joel's arrangement, you know. And so sometimes what you're really doing is deciding what you can leave out, what you have to, and then you have to figure out the puzzle part, how to find it all on the guitar.
You said one time that it's like sleight of hand.
It is. There's a little bit of magic going on. You're fooling the listener into thinking you're doing more than you really are.
Bringing
Yes.
something else out so you can take something else away and
Yeah.
put your attention somewhere else.
You know, I think Segovia said one time something about that the guitar is not painting, it's sketching. And then what you hope is that the listener hears a painting, even
Right.
though you're just sketching.
Right.
So up here, the more, matter of fact, is this true for you when you play some of the Billy Joel things? Are you hearing the piano parts in your head?
Half the fun for me is to be able to, I'm such a fan of his music that I want to be able to show people my favorite parts of it. And so it's like me saying, here, this is the coolest part for me. And so I'm finding what I like in the arrangement and working on that. And so that's if someone else were to do an arrangement of it, they would hear different parts that they would like. So, you know, even if you were comparing techniques, it would sound different because they hear things differently than I do.
Right.
Just because of who they are.
Right.
So,
Well, and with that piano stuff too, what you find out is that some stuff that's really easy on a piano is brutal on a guitar. What's easy on a piano
Yes.
is if you play with your hands like this, that kind of looks like this. As soon as you start to do this, you know, or do this, it gets really hard to do on a guitar because your fingers are stretched all over the place. But some of Billy's stuff is kind of like that.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
gives you a head start. I remember the lullaby, you know, that was played.
it's much easier on piano.
And so that's exactly what the piano notes are.
It's much
right?
easier on piano.
And but so in order to do that, let's see. So I'm hanging on to that D as there's a pivot note.
Yeah.
So it starts off looking like a Mel Bay D,
Yeah.
but it ain't long.
Yeah. And you're just going up to the B flat there, and then you
Yeah.
had an open E there for a while. Yeah.
And at the end of it, I forgot how to go.
Something like that. Yeah.
You know, you're trying to find all those harmonies, you know, and still kind of carry the tune. Of course, he's singing, so there's more of him than there is of us.
I remember hearing Martin Taylor talk one time about how he was arranging, and he said basically there's just 6 strings, and you got about 4 usable fingers over here that you can use. So you just have to leave some things out. So you can play the melody here, but you can just do maybe 2 notes of the chord rather than play the full, and just
right.
arpeggiate that. Just dance over those 2 notes, but the ear will hear the whole harmony without that.
Yeah, I think trusting the listener, and of course, if you're going to trust the listener, what you have to do is get it all working well enough that the listener's job is not too difficult, because you're really counting on them. So the easier you can make it on the listener, the more the listener will fill in the gaps for you.
That's right.
So.
Yeah, the ear is amazing at doing that. West Coast folky, I see you there, constantly running out of fingers. Yes, that is Harvey Reid's quote there. A guitar is a process of constantly running out of fingers. Fantastic. Okay. Well, as we're coming into the home stretch, before you guys play, because I know y'all have worked out a song,
Almost worked out.
Almost worked out a song. If we completely worked it out, then it wouldn't be a live lesson. Let me give you a couple of closing announcements before leaving them plenty of music time left. I wanted to mention something because I forgot to mention this during the resources. Cole, can we do this? Can we get a shot of this? This is really tricky. All right, I don't know if we're supposed to do this or not. We are still waiting to hear, but we're going to do it anyway. This is Gruhn's 45th anniversary. Vintage Guitar Magazine has I just saw this on the counter here at Gruhn's. They have, if you go to vintageguitar.com/Gruhn, I believe that's right, vintageguitar.com/Gruhn, you can get a free year subscription to the digital version of Vintage Guitar Magazine, which is a fantastic resource. So check this out. vintageguitar.com/Gruhn, Gruhn, and you can go there, and in honor of George's 45th anniversary, you can get a free subscription to Vintage Guitar Magazine. George does articles in that, lots of great resources in that. I wanted to make sure and mention that to you because who knows how long that link will be up. So if you're interested in it, there you go. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that you guys were asking about a resource that Kirby has played on, and actually there's a resource that Kirby and John have played on, which is this project here. You can see this at musicspeaksproject.com. We're kind of getting some technical things worked out here. This has, John will explain a little bit more about this, but it has, I see Doyle Dykes on here, Haley Johnson, Steve McCoy, Phil Kagi, Greg Neff, John, you're on this, Kirby, you're on this. Wow, lots of great resources. Tell us about this. There's a little bit more to this project than just a CD.
Yeah, I met most of the people really who were doing the project when I visited Kirby in South Carolina, Keith and his son Nathan Miller, and they've really put together a project that is to raise money to do research on how to deal with autism.
Yes.
And the album is called When Words Fail, Music Speaks.
When Words Fail, Music Speaks.
And I played a duet with Nathan on Jesu Joy of Man's Desire. What did you play on this project?
I played She's Always a Woman.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Another Billy Joel classic.
And one of the guys tuned in right now is Dustin Aschenfelder. He's on the CD as well, and he mixed it for me. I was in the studio with him all day working on that one, so he's had a part in it too.
Good. We will get you both to autograph this. If you're interested in this fantastic project, you can go to musicspeaksproject.com, musicspeaksproject.com, and get a copy of this, and all the proceeds go to help autism research. Great cause, great music on it, and you guys are playing on the same project.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
fun.
we did. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How fun. Okay, we are going to give this away. Someone is about to win this. We'll get you, if you all would be so gracious as to autograph it before we go.
Certainly.
The winner of this is I Am Hush, Lamb Hush, perhaps? IAMHUSH. I Am Hush. I guess that's what it is. You have just won this great CD. Congratulations. Send me your information at service@mightyoakmusic.com, and we can get that out to you. We have a lot of wonderful guests in our studio audience today, in our little audience here at Gruhn Guitars. Some of them have flown here and have traveled long distances to be here. And so thank you so much, you all, for being here with us. It's been a wonderful night. All right. Next week, we will have a live lesson. Hopefully, we're still trying to work out some logistics on that. We will have an open talk. We won't be here at Gruhn Guitars. We'll be down at Visual Sound Studios in down close to my house in Spring Hill. We do have some new lessons up at Gibson.com. We do I do all the skill-based lessons over at Gibson Skills House. We've got several new ones over there. Guitar modes. I just give you some, if you ever wondered about what's all the big deal about guitar modes, well, we kind of cover that in that lesson. I also have a great lesson on fast open string fingerstyle runs. It's a great way to get a lot of speed and a lot of flourish in your playing, and they're not as tricky as you might think when you just listen to them, because you're combining open strings with hammer-ons and things like that. Another one, we have a workout on jazz arpeggios. The power workouts are 10-minute workouts. It's just, I give you a PDF of everything I'm talking about, and then you go through it. We go through it together for 10 minutes. Then the last thing is we have a good artist interview with our good friend Rick Vito from Fleetwood Mac. Fantastic guitarist. I saw him just the other day. We need to have him back on the show. It's been, I think, 2 years since we've had Rick on the show. Do you know Rick? Rick Vito?
Met.
Yeah. He's been on Muriel Anderson's All-Star Guitar Night a few times.
Oh, that's right. That's probably where I met him.
Yeah, great guy. Anyway, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I'd like to thank our producer, Garrett, and our cameraman, Cole, for all their tireless effort, and our wonderfully unpaid moderator, Fabian, up in Wisconsin, for taking care and putting up all the links on it. You guys are the best. Check out the resources. That helps pay for this whole mess. And what are you guys going to play for us?
We're going to play Jiffy Jam into Bluefinger. Both of them.
Jiffy Jam is by, that's
Both of them are by Jerry Reed.
by Jerry Reed.
Reed, yeah. This is two tunes that have a very similar bass line, and guitar players, whenever they get together, if they can play both of them, they say, I wonder what would happen if you put these two tunes together. That was our phone conversation this afternoon, and so now from phone to live studio, right?
There you go.
So,
Are we in tune?
yeah, I'll give you a little intro. I think so.
Okay.
It's pretty close, isn't it?
Wonderful, wonderful.
stuff, isn't it?
Thank you so much. Thanks, John,
Oh, that's-
for being here. Kirby, what a treat to have you
you
here
so
with
much.
us.
Wasn't that fun?
You
Yeah.
are welcome back
Oh,
anytime. It is such a joy to have you all. Thank you all for being with us here on a wonderful Tuesday night. Keep up the great work in your own learning. Playing music is a wonderful, rewarding part of our lives, and every time you pick up your instrument, you're making music and you're bringing life to it. So appreciate it. Keep up the great work. We will see you guys next time.